available, and there are a lot of features that content creators might not know about. Today, I want to teach you 20 tips and tricks that I've learned over the years to help you step up your streaming game. Hello, my name is Pixel. Today I'm going to teach you about all the little features that make OBS Studio stand out from all the other streaming softwares. If you want, I stream over at twitch.tv/pixelperfect with a 1 instead of an I. Now for today's demonstration, I am going to be using 26.0.2, so make sure you're updated to that version so you get all the features that I'm going to be explaining today. And with that, let's hop into it. Okay, so the first thing that I want to show you in OBS, and this is a fresh install on my computer. Just wanted to show you that. So everything you'll see here is set to default. I've only added a couple sources over here to make the explanation process a little easier. So with a fresh install on OBS, the first thing that it does is go to dark mode. But originally, OBS never supported dark mode. That was brought out in an earlier time. But you can actually select different theme colors. So if you don't like that, you can go to black and blue. You can do the regular grayscale dark mode. You can do Rachni, which is like a cool aqua blue, and then you can do system, which is blinding territory. Now most people probably aren't going to use light mode, even though this actually isn't even the original light mode. This is not what OBS used to look like, but this is the 4. I just use default. Second, we're going to connect your account. So I stream on Twitch, so the first thing that you can do is connect your account. You can use a stream key if you don't prefer to connect your account, but there is a reason for direct Twitch integration. So click connect account and then just log in like normal. So now that I've logged in, you can see that it is already connected. Now the cool thing about this is that when you click apply, you actually get direct dashboard integrations. That's what the important thing about linking your account is now, because you no longer need to use Streamlabs OBS. Looking at you. Don't use Streamlabs OBS because everything you need is right here. And the cool thing here is that you can actually go up to view, go up to docs, and then open your Twitch stats. So if you want to see, I've got 125 subs right now on Twitch, got 6,200 followers, and we got 43,000 views. And all of these things are dockable. All you do is just grab the little box and drag and drop it over here. This is exactly how I run my OBS setup. Now, if you want, you can actually even add one more doc that is your activity feed. So if you want to see your follows, your gifted subs, your subs, bits, cheers, everything, it's all right here. So you can have all of these docked here if you want. You can have it so that everything you're monitoring, you don't need to have your actual Twitch dashboard open. It's all readily accessible for you right here in OBS now. And speaking of dockable things, number 3 is actually going to be your stats box. Now, I have talked about this in other videos, but the reason it's good to have a stats box is because this tells you exactly what's going on in your system. It's like that paperclip dude from Microsoft Word, if anybody remembers him. It's more like just your buddy that sits down there. I always have this docked right down here. So basically what this tells you is that your rendering frames, your lag, your encoding lag, and then it also monitors your network so that if your internet's dropping, it tells you that right here. You don't need to look at this very often, but everything is right here if you need to know what is going on. Number 4 is a fun one because it's about custom streaming resolutions. So you can go into your settings, and in your video output tab, you actually are not limited by just streaming at 1920 by 1080 or 1280 by 720. You can actually type in custom resolutions, and if you've ever stopped in my stream, I actually stream at 936p, which is 1664 by 936. This is a perfect 16 by 9 ratio that is the perfect sweet spot for a 6000 bit rate between 720p and 1080p. The thing that's really convenient about this is that if your computer can't even do 720p, you can actually go even lower than 720p while keeping it at a 16 by 9 ratio. You can type in custom resolutions, and you've probably even seen 900p on a couple streamers, but we've actually found out that 936p is the perfect sweet spot for an X264 slow encoder preset at 6,000 or even 8,000 bit rate. Now, if you're on a single PC streaming setup and you haven't watched my encoding video yet, go check that out. But I talked about this briefly, how you can save power. You can actually disable your preview right here just by right-clicking on it and then the enable preview and turn that off. That will save a lot of encoding and rendering if you have a weaker streaming PC. Very helpful. You just won't be able to see everything that's going on. What's also convenient is that you can also change the preview scaling. Like right now, it's set to scale to window. So basically, if I drag this around, it will constantly change. However, if you change it over to canvas, it'll actually zoom into what your base resolution is, or you can also set it to your output, whatever you're actually streaming at. Now, I leave it scale to window because sometimes I need to adjust things on the fly. and this is more convenient rather than trying to slide things around. Now the sixth one is called scene projection. So I'm going to turn on one of the sources that I added in here. It's a selfie from a couple years ago when I still had short hair. And what you can actually do if you have a multi-monitor setup or even a single monitor setup, this is a really nice way to look at your scene. So what you do is you click on the scene you're currently on, you right click it, and then you go to full screen projector and you click it, and now you're actually seeing this scene in full screen. So now if I need to like look at something, I'm really nitpicky with the way that I set my scenes up. So I like to make sure that everything is lined up just so. Everything is nice and tight within its borders. Like right now, this face cam is all perfectly within inside its own edges. And I like to make sure that I do that by using the full screen projector. Now, one of the ways that I actually make everything look so clean and get it all lined up perfectly is called source snapping. So source alignment snapping, it's right in the general settings here. Make sure that's enabled and make sure that, because it's default, that's not going to be turned on. Make sure you turn that on. All three of these boxes are checked. I like my snap sensitivity set to 10. So when you click on this, sorry, it's locked. Let's say it's smaller, right? This is my face cam. Now when I move it, you can see it's actually snapping to the edge. See, it's kind of like pulling it in right there. And right there's the center. Right there's the center. And that's dead center of there. And what this also allows you to do is if you have a full screen projector. Now, one of the ways that I actually make everything look so clean and get it all lined up perfectly is called source snapping. So source alignment snapping, it's right in the general settings here. Make sure that's enabled and make sure that, because it's default, that's not going to be turned on. Make sure you turn that on. All three of these boxes are checked. I like my snap sensitivity set to 10. So when you click on this, sorry, it's locked. Let's say it's smaller, right? This is my face cam. Now when I move it, you can see it's actually snapping to the edge. See, it's kind of like pulling it in right there. And right there's the center. Right there's the center. And that's dead center of there. And what this also allows you to do is if you have a face cam overlay, it'll actually allow you to snap it right to the face cam as well. Other sources that are enabled, so long as you have all three boxes turned on. The eighth thing is actually being able to custom crop and reshape things and distort them. So if you hold the Alt key and then grab one of these little squares right here, what you're actually going to do is start cropping. So you see how it's not moving, but it's actually just taking it away. And the little green highlight right here, that lets you know that this side is cropped. And you can do that with any of these. And you can just do it right on the fly. And this will make it so if you don't have like a perfect 16:9 face cam, you can actually crop it. That's how I have this camera set up. So this box is actually a 16:9 turned on its side, and I just cropped out holding the Alt key and shrunk it down to about that. That's a rough estimate, but that's about what it looks like if I were to show you in my actual OBS. Another nice feature is you can actually distort image size. So let's say you have an overlay that's not a perfect 16:9 and you want to make it fit. If you hold the Shift key and grab one of the squares, you can actually make it fit to any size you want. Now, if I let go of the Shift key, it's going to snap right back to its original source. So make sure you're holding the Shift key until you make it fit to whatever you need it to. So just remember, Alt crops and then Shift distorts. The ninth thing is actually being able to use the arrow keys to fine tune this. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to zoom in on the preview scaling so you can really see how this works. And so make sure you're clicked on the source that you want to move. And if you use the arrow keys, you can actually fine tune exactly to the direct pixel that you want. Now, the reason that this is really useful is that if you have a 2-monitor setup, what you can actually do is use what we talked about earlier on the full screen projector, make it show up, and then on the other monitor, you can actually move it with the arrow keys and see just down to that last pixel what you're trying to get. And that's how I get my face cams to line up exactly inside of my overlays every time. Okay, so the 10th thing we're going to talk about is groups. Now, when you start adding everything to your stream, like your overlay right here, and then your face cam, and then your mic, and then your notifications, and anything else, banners, all that, you're gonna get a lot of sources in OBS. And one of the ways that I like to clean all of this up is make it a group. So what you do is you hold Shift, and then you click everything that you want to highlight. See how they're both like a nice blue now? Right-click them, and then go to Group Selected Items. So what this is going to do is it actually puts them within a folder, and we'll just call this Face Cam Group, right? And now what you can do is if you toggle the eye, it'll actually turn the whole thing on and off, which is really convenient. And then you can hit the toggle arrow, and now it's just put away into one thing. And the 11th thing to add on top of that is I like to color code my groups. So if you right-click on that, and then go to set color, you can set your face cam to purple. Boom. And if you highlight all of them, then set the color, it will actually set each one, but you don't really have to do that. I like to just set the folder to the color because then it'll be easier to see if you have the color or the folders open. So now if I have a folder here and then I have a red folder down below, you'll be able to see the colors separating each one. Either way, it's your preference, but you can color code and also group them up. Now, we're gonna talk about one that's really fun and can give you a lot of advanced ideas. This is called scene nesting. In the face cam scene, this is the source we're gonna be looking at. This is like your face cam, right? So this is what you're seeing me in right now. So on here, if we were to add a filter and a color correction, let's say we turn the contrast up, right? Now, if we were to go into the gameplay where I'm in the face cam overlay, it's also affected that one. We don't want that. We only want the one in face cam to specifically be more contrasted. Now, we're gonna turn this filter off. So what we're gonna do is we're actually going to create another scene with the face cam in it, but we're going to put the filter on that scene. So we're gonna go what's called into the nested selfie. So we're gonna go into here, and then we're going to actually add the filter specifically to the scene, not the source. So you go into filters, and I have one already pre-made, and this is just gonna turn the gamma up. So now we've got this in here. So now this is how it works. Now you would think it's going to affect it in the other. All the little features that make OBS Studio stand out from all the other streaming softwares. If you want, I stream over at Twitch. And the 11th thing to add on.
Hello, senor.
Hello?
I'm in customs with 27 minutes left. On Scav run.
I am on interchange with 12 minutes left.
Oh.
And I have a very full backpack.
Oh, nice. I really need a paracord.
I have. You get up. There's plenty of fucking room. Would you stop crouching?
I'm just gonna camp. Fuck looting. I'm gonna camp for fucking PMCs. I'm gonna chill right in this little hill on the grass. No, I'm gonna go up here on my spot.
You're just claiming that, huh?
Yeah. Maybe I should get on the hill. Should I get on the hill?
You said 20 some minutes left? I don't know. I kind of feel like
25.
I feel like that spot is a better spot, but a lower probability of spotting. Whereas the other spot, you may be able to see people, but it's kind of a little bit more difficult to get a clean shot, you know?
I do have my sniper scav buddy over there.
Just hand signaling each other?
He will scream if he sees someone.
Or dies.
Yes. If anybody comes on this side of the map, if anybody's going for ZB 111, 011, then we've got it on lockdown. I will be notified.
That's real nice of him. Real swell.
Real swell. Oh, there's two scav boys down there. Oh, there's one in the bush there too. It's always the same thing though. It's like if I go loot the stashes, I feel like I'm gonna miss out on a PMC kill. And if I wait here and camp for a PMC kill, I feel like I'm gonna miss out on the stashes.
I kind of feel like in customs, unless you spawn with a key, the lootability is meh.
Yes.
So really the loot is PMCs. You
Yes.
know, I think you're always going to kind of err towards let's camp PMCs. Especially if you have a Mosin.
Is that PMC there?
Well, he doesn't see you.
This is good. Oh yeah, that's a player. What are you doing? No, you're AI scav. Or it's a player with no helmet. No, he's got a teabag. played one scav run where I wasn't really paying attention, and I went into dorms, and I saw what I thought was another player scav looting a body because he was wearing a fucking UN helmet and some other janky gear, and I stopped in front of him and I was like, not really paying attention, but like thinking to myself like, oh, it's a PMC. And I found out because he fucking blasted me.
He's probably like, what is this guy doing?
Bud? No. Go the fuck away. What the fuck are you doing? Excuse me. Go away, please. I do not want to make friends.
Very sweet of you, but non mille grazie.
No. No. Go away. Okay, he went another way. I think it's somebody's like kid or something playing. The guy's like looking at the ground, walking like a retard.
Thinking about just, should I shoot this guy?
Like I'm laying here prone, he came right up to me, just pointed his gun at my head.
Yeah, I saw
Like,
that.
no.
Bad.
No, I think this map is fucking empty. I'm gonna go over, loot. Okay. This is grenade. I go back to camp spot. I think there's PMC about. Do I have grenade? I have one grenade.
Yes.
I could have killed you, little scav. I could have. Know that.
Dang, dude, I got so many quests.
Yeah. Yeah, that was me when you started. Slowly chipping away at him.
Basically, my goal now, because I have Bitcoin farm constructing, I have Scav case constructing. So really, the only thing is quests and save as much money as I possibly can. And I'm not gonna be consumed by building things for a little.
How about the moonshine?
What about it? I mean,
When's that coming? You need water 3, and that needs Jaeger 3?
I bought. What do you mean? You mean for the scav case?
For the booze generator, you need water 3, right?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. That's
What do you need? What do you need for water 3?
water collector 3, which needs Jaeger 3, which just kind of feels like I
An
don't know,
unreachable goal.
like yeah, daily quests and
Yeah, daily quest is the only way. What's your daily?
14 scavs with a headshot.
Well, that's not gonna happen.
No.
I mean, maybe. You might be able to.
No, because there's only like 4 hours left now.
Mm.
Well, 14, but still.
14 headshots in 4 hours, I could do it. No problem.
Yeah. Suppose to bring out the Mosin.
No, you want something that won't kill them in the chest. So you want ketters.
Yeah, but I could just
And then,
pipe around it because I have to kill scavs on customs with the 74 anyway. But
yeah. So you just PP mags, cheap fucking armor, like level 3 armors, probably no helmet needed, and then you just ignore PMCs and go straight for scavs. Kill scavs until you get killed by a PMC, and then rinse, repeat.
that sounds expensive. It's basically what I've been doing now. Going in there with basically just a silence 74U and hoping that I get to the scavs before PMCs run across them. And hoping that
It seems
those-
here there's a fucking horde of them. There's like 5 scavs around this checkpoint right now. I don't think a goddamn thing is gonna happen this whole map. Damn it. I'm gonna go to old gas. See if the extract is. Jesus, look at this fucking scav's gun. Fucking hell.
I think he got it from someone. A gift.
Yes, a gift.
Could someone buy my fucking rooster, please?
Rooster. Why ain't nobody paying for my cock?
You know what I haven't done today? I haven't checked to see if Ukraine is still on the map. It is.
You haven't checked what?
Moscow backs Iran nuclear deal revival. That's when you know
Surprise, surprise.
that's when you know you're at a new low though.
Yeah, when you start backing Iran.
You're like, oh, got no
I
more.
need friends. Anyone, please.
That basically means China said no. Good for them.
Yeah, I was really worried about it.
I
Like-
wasn't, because it would have. I mean, to be honest, is like, especially now with the whole COVID thing going on here, like they're so fragile. Like they
That's
like
true.
to act tough, but like
Smoke and mirrors. Especially my guy, my private student. That's what he says. He says this year, because it's like it should be like a re-election year
mhm.
for the leadership, that this year nothing is gonna happen. Like everything's gonna stay the same. Nothing is gonna change. There's gonna be like no new real laws, no new opening or policies, no crackdowns, no nothing for anybody. Just because he wants to keep the heat down during this like year that should be a transition, but isn't. So I feel like that kind of tracks with the response to this whole Ukraine thing.
I love this heavy machine gun they put on the BMW. I mean, absolutely absurd idea, but
I didn't see it.
I send you.
Okay, yes. I like. We call this a technical, anytime there's like a mounted gun on a non-military vehicle. And I mean, you know that when the locals are putting guns on expensive vehicles like a BMW and not a fucking Toyota Tacoma, that like when you start getting Gucci technicals, basically, you know you done fucked up and invaded the wrong country. You know when they have like a middle class that's supporting a war, you're fucked.
I had
You-
that
you-
I had that idea the other day when I was the whole thing about like Saudi Arabia's like rocketing Yemen and stuff. Whereas like Saudi Arabia would be like the shittiest place to try to go in and bring troops.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Nothing you could do.
They're absolute idiots, but they can pay for anything that they want to buy. You know,
Yeah.
so even if they're shitheads with like the nicest gear. I mean, if they wanted to, you know. Well, I mean, to be honest, they could just individually buy tanks, and everyone has their own tank, and that's just how they drive around while shit goes down. But
Yeah.
otherwise, they would just have like fully, you know, armored up Mercedes-Benz G coupes, you know, like just it'd be nuts. I mean, it'd be funny, and you'd probably still get the job done, but like it would be extremely difficult.
It would be some absurd Mad Max shit.
But like Mad Max, when he became a rapper, and hello,
You are
stupid. No, he is friend.
okay. You are. You're good. You're good. I mean, imagine if they tried to invade the U.S. Imagine if somebody invaded the U.S. You know?
Or Canada,
Like-
for that matter. I just, you know.
Oh, Canada would be fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I think the U.S. would be crazier. Like, I think you'd see more absurdity out of the U.S. than out of Canada
Oh yeah.
if there was a war.
Oh yeah. I mean, it would be a totally different situation, but kind of in the same way as like once you got to bumfuck, like you would just be, if you were an invading troop, like you would have to just be terrified all the time.
Yeah.
Just like I mean, like I think actually my seventh grade was it history or geography? I don't remember. Maybe it was math even. I don't remember what he taught, but he used to always talk about why the Russians would never invade Wisconsin.
Huh. This fucking boomer.
Yeah.
Worried Cold War shit. Like.
He wasn't even
Nice.
that old, to be honest. He was just like, you know, like all those fucking deer stands, and literally everyone could just go out to their deer stand, and they would just be sitting around waiting to pluck off soldiers left and right, and like I mean, that would be the shittiest thing to possibly go through. I mean, I assume, to be honest, that Ukraine is probably really similar to that. You know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think like Midwestern. Not Midwestern. What? I mean, is Wisconsin Midwest? No.
Yep. Yeah. We're like the.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kind of like the middle.
Well, that whole area from the Midwest up to all the way up to like Canada and like fucking all the way over to New England and shit. That's like any countryside folk are. I don't know how to. They're just so prideful and so like not prideful but like proud
I would
of
say,
what they are.
you know, like gritty even, you know?
Yeah.
Like they're just gonna they like doing what they do and they don't change because trends and things like that. And so like Wisconsin is still like the 1970s basically. We think
Fuck
the
yeah.
same things are cool and like that's just, you know, most like radio stations are all classic rock. And like you would literally hear classic rock banging, like people would park their fucking pickup trucks, bang a radio station in the middle, like just leave their pickup truck in the middle of the road, go out to their deer stand, or one of their deer stands, and just wait. And they would be perfectly content taking out, like, 4 or 5 Ruskies and just calling it a day. Or biting the dust. And either way,
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about John? Took 10 of them out.
We took 10 of them out.
Rest in
Are you
peace.
ready to go get the mail, babe? Are you ready to get the mail? I didn't ask you the status of your fucking blood.
I'm bleeding currently, therefore I'm not ready.
Maybe you should. No,
Yes.
no, then go yourself. Take the kids to get the mail. Disaster.
I'm taking him only.
Then go yourself.
No, you come with me. You should blow daddy's ear until he said yes.
Wanna see
understand?
the backside of my hand, son?
How that works?
Yeah.
Do what your mama tells you.
You don't understand. I'll teach you. I'll teach you, boy.
Ain't nobody teaching nothing around here.
Oh, my blood. You know the fiction book I was reading? The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Hitchhiker's Guide.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So funny. It's like the guy, what's his name? I totally forgot. He threatened the robot, saying like, if you don't open the door, I'm gonna basically erase your memory and make you someone new. And then the author's words are really funny saying, this is the most cruel thing you can say to a robot. Basically, the robot here, blood. It's a really good book, man. I love it.
The robot is
The way
manically
you describe
depressed.
it, even if it's a movie, you cannot hear the part. It's not
That's-
in the movie.
What's the robot, Tyler?
It's
Huh?
the robot in that movie or in that book is depressed. It's a depressed robot.
Yeah. That's right.
Existential
funny.
dread robot.
I love it.
So Ray likes this book because it explains people's emotions.
Mommy.
Purpose in life.
Yes, because I
The whole
because
thing
I
is about
totally
purpose.
feel what's the age fit.
with
What do
the-
you want me
with the
to do?
robot
I
book.
need to talk to Daddy and I need to go get the mail. Then go put your socks on. What? What? No, I'm not putting it on. I'm going to the bathroom. Alright, you go to put your own socks on. I did not ask you to put my clothes on. Go put my clothes on. After bathroom, I'll go, okay?
Gear yourself up for a night run. I gotta go take my wife to the mail shop, pick up mail. When I come back, it's time for a night run somewhere.
Where?
Wherever your little heart desires.
We could go to Woods. If we go to Woods, I'm bringing a Mosin.
Fuck yeah, let's Mosin pair it up.
Yep. There we go.
I have Mosin, you have Mosin. We Mosin. Right, Pendy? Fucking World War II here, dude. No, it's 1895. Is that the date? I'm gonna blast them like it's 1895.
World War
Like we're
II?
shooting Ottomans.
Let's see here. I have 3 of these pistols. Do you have bullets for these?
Duh.
Ooh, I have bullets in this one. Wait,
I'll bring you. How many mags do you need?
pistol? 1 mag is fine. If I need more than 1, then we're dead anyway. I have these. I don't. Honestly, that's how I look at it. SS 190. Are those good? That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, the SS 190s are the best.
Ooh. Let's go.
Let me see, where's the extra magazine for it? Okay.
Bring armor.
What do I need to do on fucking woods? I don't think anything. I think all I need to do on woods is to shoot PMCs in the face from more than 100 meters.
Sounds like a very woodsy task.
The
Okay, get ready.
You need NVGs.
Oh yeah, that's probably important.
Alright, I've done textile 1. All I need is a fucking paracord. Good. Is there any way to craft a paracord? I don't think so. Oh yeah, there is. You
So-
need 5 duffel bags, bro. 5 duffel bags.
Yeah, but you
A
can buy
knife.
those. Those are like 6,000.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't believe you can craft this thing.
Fucking hell.
I need this knife. And 1 thing of wires.
Seems.
Alright, bro. I'll be back. I'm going to get the mail.
Alright.
Oh, dude. Huh? You don't want what? Stay here. I'll give you the nail. Then keep your shoes. Oh no, Isaac, go find your shoes. Did you put them? Ray, are you okay? Did you fall in there? Go, get a kiss shoes on. Where's your shoes? Where's your shoes? You read here, why on the place? Yes, you did. You took them off somewhere. Yes. Go look in the bedroom. Go find the shoes. Oh.
Not in the bathroom, Cat.
Then can't go by it. Okay. No.
Daddy,
Mm,
this one.
it's an R.
Oh,
Yes. R like a pirate.
Hello, comrade.
Hello. I'm not sure that I have time for a full PMC run right now because,
You gotta go to your thingy, right?
well, I moved. Yeah, my guy moved his class to tomorrow, which means my divinity got moved from tomorrow to tonight.
Word.
Usually we start around 7:30, but my buddy is saying he's home now. So we shall see what he says in a moment. You loot this stash from outside.
No, I've tried.
You got the mail, Bam?
Yes.
Nice.
This is 50. I think it's some towel and some purity pads. Samples.
Right.
Move.
Yeah, I think it's annoying. I often struggle with having to deal with like people's judgments and expectations of me, like you as well. You know, like it's so fucking silly that I obviously spent a lot of slow grades and shit. Like my teacher, and not everyone was like that, but love I'm a teacher for a long time, and you're a new teacher. Like yeah, like it's fine, but there's a lot of shit. Like maybe you were very good at something else. Like for me, like I'm really qualified at other things. I have to deal with like teaching is like so that they're the best. But the truth is like they're not. They're really not. And it's not that big. It's just it's the big deal about it. Yeah, you look great. You look very sexy. I think. Oh, we have to dance here. I guess you do like that. You got it. I can't live without it. Like, no, that's my thing. God, where is this? Pistols everywhere. You should be able to dual wield pistols.
Agreed.
Although I feel like that's tactically retarded.
I mean, basically, you should be able to do anything that you can actually do.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's a huge disadvantage to dual wielding pistols, but that needs to be.
Yeah, but think of the retardedness that would bring though. That would be like dual wielding double barrel shotguns. So you could fire 4 flechettes at the same time.
Yeah, but I mean, you could just make it so only pistols could be.
True, but I mean, if you could do anything,
Yeah, but
like
what
dual
would
wield
happen-
Mosins.
What would
Why
happen
the
if
fuck
you
not?
wanted to dual wield Mosins, for example? You know, you would have zero control. Recoil would be like out of this world. I do think the one thing in this game that they need to address is like hip fire accuracy.
Yeah, yeah. Hip firing is not. That's just not how it works. You know, like soldiers don't stand like that. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't just keep your gun level all the time. Like that requires basically holding the gun like I am now requires just as much stamina as ADSing. Maybe a little less.
Agreed. But like you should be able to do it if you're not moving. But once you start moving, your gun should move appropriately. You know, like there's no way when you're moving to keep it totally level. Well, there is, but like that's basically ADS.
Nice.
Yeah, I just watched that BMW technical. That is fucking insane, dude.
I mean, it would be so stupid, but at the same time, like,
2 guys, 1 girl. How do they dance?
what?
I don't fucking know. I don't want to know.
That's so strange.
Cares?
What?
What?
Are you talking to me?
Huh?
What?
Bless you. Bless you. What's your day looking like tomorrow?
I have 3 classes, 11,
You don't care about me?
140, and 225.
Ask me about my day.
What's your day looking like tomorrow, babe?
Tomorrow I'm gonna get up and dance.
Great.
I am going to every single day dance an hour to get my muscle control back.
Okay.
It's already half of the time I used to dance, so I'm gonna dedicate like.
Yeah, bro. My boys are in. I gotta go.
All right.
Later.
Later.
I got dedicated.
top of that is I like to color code my groups. So if you right click on that and then go to set color, you can set your face cam to purple. Boom. And if you highlight all of them, then set the color, it will actually set each one, but you don't really have to do that. I like to just set the folder to the color because then it'll be easier to see if you have the color or the folders open. So now if I have a folder here and then I have a red folder down below, you'll be able to see the colors separating each one. Either way, it's your preference, but you can color code and also group them up. Now, we're gonna talk about one that's really fun and can give you a lot of advanced ideas. This is called scene nesting. In the face cam scene, this is the source we're gonna be looking at. This is like your face cam, right? So this is what you're seeing me in right now. So on here, if we were to add a filter and a color correction, let's say we turn the contrast up, right? Now if we were to go into the gameplay where I'm in the face cam overlay, it's also affected that one. We don't want that. We only want the one in face cam to specifically be more contrasted. Now we're gonna turn this filter off. So what we're gonna do is we're actually going to create another scene with the face cam in it, but we're going to put the filter on that scene. So we're gonna go what's called into the nested selfie. We're gonna go into here, and then we're going to actually add the filter specifically to the scene, not the source. So we go into filters, and I have one already pre-made, and this is just gonna turn the gamma up. So now we've got this in here. So now this is how it works. Now you would think it's going to affect it in the other scene, but it doesn't. And the reason is because we put the filter over the scene, not over the source, right? So now what you can do is actually go back in and add a scene as a source, if it's not confusing enough as it is, as a scene as a source, and then add the nested selfie. So now you can actually toggle between having alternate things without directly affecting it. Just understand that you have to put the filters on scenes rather than on the sources. Otherwise, if you affect the base source, it will affect every other one. So one of the most important things about having a good stream is making sure you understand audio and making sure that your levels are set. Now, obviously, you can just drag the sliders around. I've talked about what you should set your levels at to make sure you sound good. I've also made a video on making your mic sound professional. If you haven't checked that out, feel free to go check that out. Now, one of the things that I like to do is I like to set my desktop audio at about a -8. That usually is pretty comfortable for notifications and anything else that's happening on the system. But you can actually go into the advanced audio properties, specifically type in the exact number you're looking for, and then you can also lock the audio. Now, you do that by clicking on the gear and just clicking lock volume. Now, the reason this is important is because I like to use my scroll wheel a lot, and sometimes if your scroll wheel is touching this, it will actually start moving it unintentionally. So by locking your audio, it will never move. Even if you click on it, you actually have to go back in and unlock the volume. Now, it's not going to be very common that you're moving your audio, so that's why I like to lock it. Because once it's set and everything sounds balanced, make sure that you're the main focus. Then there's the gameplay and the notifications. Just lock it, and then you never have to worry about it again. So the 14th thing that I want to tell you about, and it actually goes along with locking and cleaning up your interface, is you can actually hide media sliders. So one of the things that I do is I have an animated overlay here that's considered a media source, but it's not actually making any sound, so I don't need this slider. So all I do is I mute it just to make sure that if anything ever bugs out, there's no audio coming through. And then I actually just go in and hide it. So now it's back to being clean. Now I can see my desktop audio and I can see my mic source as well. And if you ever need to access that, all you do is click unhide all, and it shows right back up, and they are in alphabetical order, so you'll be able to find it right away. Number 15 is custom face cam shapes. So when I used to stream Super Mario Maker, I like to have a custom face cam overlay that didn't look like other face cams. You can actually add a mask to make your face cam look any way you want. And you do this by going into filters, and then you're going to add an image mask blend filter here, and you're going to make sure that you change the alpha mask to the alpha channel. It's going to default to color channel. You want the alpha channel. What that is going to do is it's actually going to remove the negative space, the thing that isn't there. So this image here actually is a direct shape of this rectangle here. So now if you look, my face cam specifically looks like this. So how this filter works is it operates by using a ping file, PNG, and then whatever has an alpha layer transparency, it will remove from the source that it's been applied to. So I'm using what's called a bubble mask, and it literally just uses the same image, and then I apply it directly to it. And then if I wanted to, I could put the bubble outline in there and it would sit directly on top of that. So why don't we do that? We'll add the image and we'll just call it image, and then we'll browse and we'll do the bubble outline. And then all I would have to do is resize it to where I want it. Gotta play around with it a little bit, make sure the edges touch. Use the arrow keys to fine tune it, and there you go. You now have an overlay. Speaking of streaming, if you haven't, feel free to go follow me over at twitch.tv/pixelperfect. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Don't forget to also hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to help me grow. I greatly appreciate it. We already have almost 400 members in the Discord, and I've made a couple free goodies and overlays as well as outlines for you in there. They're free for you to come in and get. Just hop into the Discord. Link in the description down below as well. Number 16 is custom stinger transitions. That's this little box down here in the corner. Now, what this does is it actually makes it so when you jump from scene to scene, it looks fancy. So basically right now it's just cutting, right? That's just a hard jump. It's jarring. It's not enjoyable to look at. So what you could actually do is change it to, let's say, the fade. And you can set the millisecond, the duration, how long it takes to fade between each one. Now that's really basic, and a lot of people either use just cut or fade. You can also use slide or swipe. But let's say you want to add a custom stinger transition. You can actually go down here and click add stinger and then name it to whatever you want. We'll just call this one Nova, for example, and we'll hit OK. And then we're going to go find the file that it is. Now, this is one that I have used specifically from Nerd or Die, and this was just called Stinger Transition. And then they gave you 5 colors. This is from their Nova package, and I absolutely love this one. So we're just going to add the blue one because they don't have purple. Hit open, and then you would think you're done, but first we're going to show you how it works. So we have the Nova one selected, so when you hit it, you see how it changed before the Stinger Transition even initiated? We actually have to go back into the properties of that and change it. So we're gonna change the time to frames. Now I stream at 60 frames per second, and each stinger transition is going to be different. You just gotta kind of fiddle around with it until you find the sweet spot. I'm gonna guess 60 seconds is here. Now if you wanna hear the stinger transition every time you change a scene, you can actually change the audio monitoring to be monitor only mute output or monitor in output. So it'll actually make it so only you hear it, but stream doesn't. Or you could do it so you and stream both hear it, but I leave it off because I don't need to hear the transitions. I just let that happen on stream. And then I always make sure that I have this set to crossfade. If you set it to fade out and then fade in, what's going to happen is every time you change a scene, your voice is going to go really quiet, and then it's going to come back in. And that's really frustrating. If you let it crossfade, it's actually going to make it so that your voice stays consistent all the way through each scene. So always make sure that it's set to crossfade, monitor off, and then you can even click preview transition. So now, you see how it's gone? It's changed. That was too early. You saw how it changed the scene still before it actually blinked? So what we have to do is try and guess, we'll say 80 frames, and then preview transition. Still too early. So then you just set, we'll say 90 frames, preview transition. And that was actually just a little too early. We'll set it to 100 frames. Preview transition, it's gonna go, boom. Now you don't see the scene change. Go over, and when you change this, it's gonna go, flip, and now we're on the other scene. And that's a custom stinger transition. Now what's really cool is you can even take this one step farther, and you can actually set dedicated transitions to specific scenes. So if you were to right click on the nested selfie, and let's say we go to transition override, we want this one to only do Nova. So every time I go to this scene, it's gonna do Nova, right? But there's a catch. If you have this set to Nova, every single time you change, it's still going to do it. OBS doesn't know what transition to use. It only ever defaults to what's over here. So if you want fade to be here and you don't have an override, now it's only ever going to fade each time you use it. However, now that I've set a dedicated override to nested selfie, even though it still says fade over here, it's going to use the Nova transition. And this is really cool when you want to specifically delegate different scenes. If you're talking to your chat at one point versus if you're playing games, I like to use the actual dedicated transition for when I'm going into games. If I'm just showing, for example, my right monitor on the streaming PC, I'll use the white, so it makes it look like it's sliding over to the other monitor. If I'm going into a game, I'll use the full scene transition like you saw with Nova. Otherwise, if I'm just talking, I'll use fade. And that's it. Now, by default, OBS does not start at an MP4 format for recording videos. It actually defaults to MKV. Now, in the settings, you can automatically change that by just going to recording format in the output tab here and changing it to MP4. But there is an issue with going to MP4. If my computer were to crash right now, I would lose this entire video. Now the reason MKV is a desirable file format is because you can actually still save the file even if my computer were to crash. The only thing is you need to convert it. Now what you can do is go into advanced and then select under recording, go to automatically remux to MP4. Now what that's going to do is once you're done recording, it will automatically convert it, but it'll save the file first. Just in case your system crashes, you'll have a backup, and then you can actually reconvert it into MP4. This is a great way to save your footage. I've seen a lot of Let's Players that I used to watch lose their footage because the computer crashed, or they had a blue screen of death, something that made it so that they couldn't preserve their file format. So I would suggest starting with MKV and then remuxing down to MP4. Number 19 is going to be how to save native clips from OBS directly. So what you can do is go into settings and then go into output. Now we're going to enable what's called a replay buffer. So what this does basically is it's going to start recording the last 20 active seconds constantly. So it's only ever going to save those 20 seconds or whatever you set it to. I'd set it to 30. That's what most Twitch clips are. But what the nice thing is this is going to save it directly to your computer. So set your replay time to 30 seconds. It's only going to use about 9 megabytes of RAM. So you don't have to worry about that at all. Apply, and you're actually going to see over here, start replay buffer. So now we're going to go down over to hotkeys, and we're going to find the spot where it says replay buffer. Save replay, and we're going to make sure that we set a hotkey for this. So for me, I'll just say let's set it to F9. So let's say I hit a crazy shot in Warzone or some other game that I'm playing. I can just hit F9 right away, and boom, it'll save the last 30 seconds of whatever just happened. Now there's only one catch to this, and you need to make sure that when you're streaming, you also make sure that you have your replay buffer running. If you just click start streaming but don't click start replay buffer, it actually won't save your clip. This has to be running along with streaming in order to make sure that it will capture that moment. So make sure that when you start streaming, you have replay buffer set and you also have your hotkey set. It would be nice if OBS had a feature where when you started streaming, you can also start your replay buffer. I don't know if there is an advanced setting that I may have missed somewhere in here. I know you can start recording when you start streaming, but I don't know about the replay buffer. So just make sure that you have that started. You can also set your replay buffer to a hotkey. So if you wanted, you could have a cheap workaround by having your start streaming and start replay buffer bound to the same hotkey. So now every time I start streaming by hitting the one key, my start replay buffer will also kick in. This is basically just a failsafe to make sure that your replay buffer is also running while you're streaming. Now, wherever your recording output is set to in your output settings, that is where your replay buffer is going to go. Right now, users, my username, and then video. That's where all of my replay buffers as well as my videos are going to go. So if you have your hotkey enabled when you save your replay buffer, that's where your clip will go. And lastly, the last one that I like to show that actually I take a little pride in because I suggested this in the OBS forums about 4 years ago and it finally got put in after I was told that my project idea has been approved, was a screenshot of your overlay. So I like to make a lot of my overlays. I made this overlay. It was based off Modern Warfare when it first came out. Now, obviously not without the crop edges and everything, but the specific edge box when you first load it in, go ahead and make that very similar. And I like to make my own overlays. So one of the things I always had to do was take a screenshot of what was happening with the print screen button, put it into a photo editor, and then start editing it that way. Now you can actually get native screenshots. And you do this by going into settings, then going into hotkeys and find your screenshot output. So all you're going to do is bind it to a hotkey, we'll say F1, click apply, and then once you do,
you guys know that I don't keep any secrets on my stream. That's literally why I started this YouTube channel, so I can show you guys everything about how my stream is set up, and then you can get some inspiration, go away and create something unique for your own stream. Or you know, you could just straight up rip off my stream, thief. One of the things that I use to create my advanced stream layouts in OBS are plugins. And basically what a plugin does is it adds extra features to OBS that it doesn't have by default. I'm going to show you guys 5 of the plugins that I use to create some of the effects that you're seeing on screen right now. Now, if you aren't aware, I've already done a video on 5 OBS plugins. You can check it out by clicking on the eye thing or wherever it is nowadays. For reference, here are the 5 plugins that we covered in that video, but today we're gonna be looking at 5 more plugins. Now, as you're watching this video, you may have seen some of these plugins before, maybe you haven't, but come on, man. It's like really hard to make original content on YouTube, dude. I'm gonna be focusing on plugins that I personally think add a lot of value to your stream and just make your stream more fun and engaging. Hey. What's up, guys? It's Nutty. Before we talk about OBS plugins, I want to address one thing. No, Gavin, these do not work in Streamlabs OBS, so don't ask me. Now, if you want to browse a list of every single plugin currently available for OBS, I'll leave a link in the description box down below. You can browse through the list. There's a few pages of them. The process of installing each plugin usually varies depending on who made the plugin, but generally speaking, you usually download a zip file. You go to where your OBS install is, and then you just unzip the zip file right on top. The zip file will usually contain a data folder and an OBS plugins folder, which match the root folder of your OBS install. So all you need to do is merge those folders and then relaunch OBS. That is the basics out of the way. Let's move on to the list. We're gonna hit it off with my all-time favorite plugin. Actually, are we? Maybe I should leave this one to the end. That way people have to watch my video longer. Dude, that would have been way smarter. Screw it, I'm just gonna do it right now. The plugin is called Move Transition. Now, shout out to the random dude who left a YouTube comment. He's the guy who made this, and I would never have even known about this plugin if he didn't tell me about it. Now, you're probably aware that in OBS, you can set up a bunch of different transitions so that when you switch between scenes, you can have like a boring cut transition or fade transition. Or if you're fancy, you probably set up a custom stinger transition, which I made a tutorial for. Go check that out. But what if you wanted to animate your scene transition? So let's just say you have 2 scenes, one that you have your big camera, and then another where you have your small camera, and when you switch between them, you want to animate your camera so that shrinks down. That's what Move Transition does. It just adds a new option in your scene transitions menu called Move, and then every single time that you switch between scenes, it will animate every single source in your scene composition. Okay, time out, Nutty. I've already seen this before. You covered that in your first video. First of all, watch your language. Second of all, kind of. See, the plugin that was in the first video was a different plugin called Motion Effect, and it kind of does pretty much the same thing, but check this out. I'm gonna play a transition that used Motion Effect, then I'm gonna play a transition that uses this new Move Transition plugin. And you can just see how much smoother this new plugin is than the old one. So how do we set this up? First, go to your scene transitions, click the plus button, and you'll see a new option there called Move. From there, the properties menu will open up, and then you can change some of the properties. You can change the position in and the position out options. That's just gonna tell the plugin where each source animates from. I like to set the position in and position out to none. I just think that looks better. You'll see what I mean when you try it out. And then you can also adjust the curve property. Again, I like to just leave this at 0, but play around with it, see what works for you. After that, you can just press OK, and then you can start switching scenes. And damn, dude, look at that. Look how pro your stream looks now. Now, some of you may be thinking, if Move Transition is so much better than Motion Effect, do I still need Motion Effect? And the answer is maybe. Motion Effect still has some features that Move Transition doesn't have. Like, for example, you can animate individual sources if you want to. So if you just wanted to hit a hotkey and only move just your camera, you'd have to use Motion Effect for that. So that's a feature that I'd like to see come to Move Transition. But for now, you can. Okay, don't listen to that guy. He has no idea what he's talking about. I filmed this video like 3 weeks ago, and apparently they put out an update since then that allows you to animate individual sources. So go get that update. Also, some of the menus that I just showed you are gonna look different, but I don't really feel like re-recording the video. Cause like, what are you crazy? You expect me to put effort in this video? Okay, next plugin. This is gonna be for anyone that uses background music from something like Spotify, which I'm guessing is a lot of you. Have you ever found music from Monster Cat on YouTube and it's got that cool little visualizer thing that animates as the music plays? Like, that's cool, I want that. Yeah, that's pretty much what this plugin does. It's called Spectralizer. Now, this one's pretty easy to set up. There's gonna be a new option when you're adding a new source in OBS called Audio Visualizer. And then once you have it added, you just select the audio source where your background music is coming from, and it pretty much just works right away. Now, there are options you can play around with, like you can change like how high the bars go, how many bars there are, and how thick the bars are. but I'll let you guys play around with it and figure it out for yourself. Now here's the thing, a lot of you guys are gonna see this audio visualizer plugin, and then you're just gonna copy exactly the same thing that they do in the Monster Cat videos. And that's cool if you wanna do that, but I highly recommend that you play around with it and try to think of clever ways that you can use this plugin. Like for example, I use this on my starting student screen, and I have 2 copies of this audio visualizer mirrored, and I've lowered the opacity and just put it in the background so it's a little more subtle and not so in your face. Or you can do what this guy did. He's got like this tiny widget that shows his local time in his time zone, but on top and bottom of this widget, he's got 2 copies of the audio visualizer plugin, and then he set it to react to his voice. So every time he speaks, the visualizer moves. So I just thought that was a really clever way of using this very simple plugin. But whatever you do, just try to think of something creative. Don't put like these gigantic obnoxious bars over your stream. Like, we get it, man. You still think beatboxing is cool. Just chill out, homie. All right, so the next plugin. This one is so underrated, but it is so powerful, and it is called OBS Shader Filter. Basically what this plugin does is it adds a new filter that you can add to any source and apply shaders to it. Now, if you don't know what a shader is, you can think of it like an effect that you can apply to your camera or your game or literally anything. Like for example, you can make it look like there's a piece of glass between you and your camera, or you can make it look like your camera's pixelated like an old 16-bit SNES game, or you can even set like a source to rotate, which is something you can't even do in OBS. You can even create your own shader, but I'm guessing if you knew how to do that, you already know about this plugin. Now, all you have to do to apply a shader to a source is you just go to the filters for any source that you want, add a user-defined shader, and then click the checkbox that says load shader text from file. From there, you can browse a list of all of the pre-installed shaders. Try each one. A lot of them don't work, but just try each of them. There's a lot of really cool ones in there. Now, using each of these shaders on their own might seem gimmicky, and I get that, but hear me out, because trust me, this plugin opens up so many doors to creative and unique fun ideas that are just gonna make your chat think, how did he do that? Here's an example that I use in my stream. I've added a plugin called Zoom Blur, and basically all that does is it makes my camera pulse in and out, and it's all right, it's okay on its own. But check this out. On top of that, I added these party lights, then I chucked on these anime speed lines, and put on some Wii music in the background. Then I set it up using last week's video, check that out. I set it up so that every time I get a host, it does this. But the last video I did was on RTX voice, and yeah, you don't need an RTX start for it. What? But that is just a taste of what you can do using shaders. I actually have some really insane ideas that involve combining shaders with an upcoming feature coming to RTX graphics cards that literally no one is talking about. I'm gonna have to save for another video because I'm just exploding with ideas right now. Keep an eye out for that, because trust me, it's gonna be crazy. Okay, what are you up to? Plugin number 4. This next plugin is called closed captioning, and as the name suggests, yeah, it adds captions to your stream. Look, I get it. Did anyone ask for this? No, I've never had any deaf people watch my stream or anyone ask for captions except for one person. You know who you are. There are a lot of ways to add captions to a stream. There are websites that can do it. There are Twitch extensions that can do it. But did you know that the Twitch player itself natively supports captions? It's just that when you stream using OBS, you're not sending any of that data over to show the captions on your stream. That is exactly what this plugin does, and it works off the Google Speech API. So it's gonna be about as accurate as when you talk to your phone or use Google Home. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Nutty, my Google Home never understands what I'm saying. Won't this be just as bad? You're goddamn right it is. Yeah, it does make a lot of mistakes, and I could sit here and lie to you like, hey, this is gonna make your stream more accessible to people who can't, you know, hear your stream. But I gotta be real, the only reason why I added this is because sometimes it's fun to have captions there and then laugh at the mistakes that it makes. Like this. Who's Catherine? I don't know any Catherines. Just one thing to add, because the captions work natively with the Twitch player, your viewers can just turn off the captions if they think it's annoying. So no harm done there. This last plugin is gonna be more of a convenience thing and not really something that your viewers are gonna be able to see. If you're the kind of person who takes a lot of screenshots, maybe you're an artist, or you just wanna capture a small portion of your screen, check out Scav. Basically, it adds a new hotkey to your settings that says capture screenshot. And when you hit that hotkey, it's gonna bring up this region selector. and then you can just highlight a region on your monitor and then hit enter, and it'll automatically add a new image source to the current scene in OBS. Then from there, you can treat it as a normal image source, so you can just zoom into it if you want, or delete it if you just want to add it temporarily. What I think this would be really useful for is if you're doing like React content and you see something funny that is really small, you can like take a quick screenshot of it and then zoom into it so your chat can see it better. I don't know. If this is something that's going to be useful for you, then you'll know. Get that out of here. So those are 5 plugins that you can install today, as well as the other 5 plugins I did in the other video. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know which plugins that you're using for your stream. I gotta be honest with you, I would really like to do another top 5 video for OBS plugins, but I've pretty much gone through every plugin that I use. So if there's anything I've missed,
Hello my YouTube friends! Plugins are an awesome way to expand what you can do with OBS. And they're all totally free to use. So today I'm going to tell you about my 5 favorite live streaming plugins. So let's get to it! My goal on this channel is to help people become better live streamers and maybe entertain a little bit in the process. So take a second and leave me a comment down below to let me know how I'm doing. This goes a long way towards helping YouTube push this video to a wider audience. And my analytics say that 80% of the folks that watch my content are not subscribed. And if you're one of those 80%, please consider subscribing. This really does help me to continue to make content that helps you. And it's totally free, so thanks! There are links to each one of these plugins in the description down below if you want to check them out for yourself. This first plugin is one of my absolute favorites. It makes a huge difference in how professional your live streams can look. The Move transition has been around for a long time, and it is absolutely my favorite plugin ever. It allows you to change scenes where you move your assets around in a fluid fashion, so it looks like they're just kind of reshuffling on your screen. It has a really simple menu system that allows you to select what you want to move, where you want it to come from, where you want it to go to. It's really, really easy to use once you get used to it. And you can add these transitions in between every scene, or you can even customize them separately. It's really, really cool stuff. But that's not all you can do with the Move transition. You can absolutely transition from scene to scene, moving your sources around and make them look really cool. But even more importantly, you can move your